Rachel.
How are you?
Oh, Rachel, I am so keen to be here. I'm very happy. I'm looking forward to our discussion of a rather chunky episode, a rather filling episode.
It is one of the
Killjoys.
top-rated ones on IMDb. It gets that little banner.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Wow, I didn't realize. So how about you? How are you doing?
Okay.
Just okay?
Yeah.
That means Rachel's not doing okay. That's the lingo.
No, oh, if I said I was fine,
Oh,
that would be...
if you said K, that means you're chaotic and evil.
Oh, yeah, that would be a whole other thing.
That would mean Rachel's up to something nefarious.
I know.
But Rachel, it's good to be here with you yet again. We are Yum Yum Podcast, the podcast that gets the name from Star Trek Discovery, in which a character said the famous and infamous line "Yum Yum" in response to being asked if they would like to take down the antagonist of the season. And it's a silly line, it's a sexy line, it's a line that is inappropriate for the series it's in and the moment it is in, but thank goodness we remember it so you don't have to, and we carry it with us everywhere we go.
No,
What?
no, you don't get to casually use that turn of phrase.
It's just a normal turn of phrase. We all know it.
Not for you.
No, it is.
Not for you.
It is. But
Here's the deal. We are named after Discovery, but we are covering Killjoys,
yes, we are.
the Sci-Fi show, which you have watched. I have not.
You are new, and this is my first time ever revisiting the show, ever rewatching the show.
And we are discussing episode 7 of season 1, which is titled Kiss Kiss Bye Bye.
And do you have a description at the ready, Rachel, for what happened, what this was all about? What is Kiss Kiss Bye Bye?
I went a bit crude.
Wow.
I went a bit crude.
For this show? I can't believe it.
Johnny investigates the insides of the Neuralink while his brother explores Dutch.
That's it?
Yep.
A rather heavy episode, by the way. An episode that deals with some pretty graphic moments.
I didn't want to give away too much.
Rachel's head's in the toilet. Okay. I see.
I went for the
gutter.
humorous rather than the comprehensive.
That is completely fair.
Yeah.
And we're going to get comprehensive ourselves and start talking about the show in more detail. We have a few things up top to keep a note on. So this series is funny. It's very funny. It has a very specific rhythm, very specific sense of humor, and we like to catalog that. We like to flag it up. What was the yum yum laugh moment of Kiss Kiss Bye Bye?
For me, it was Davin saying, "Why shoot the shit when you can shoot at shit?"
Which was at the very beginning of the episode. I'm sorry, Rachel. You critique my summaries. I'm going to critique your choices of what was funny, because the correct answer, the only answer, was Johnny describing to Pri why Dutch and Davin
the hand
having
action
sex,
specifically, yeah,
the whole in exchange, but specifically the line of, it's like if your brother and your sister started to, and then he does the clapping of his hands together, and
true.
That Pri is disgusted by this, and it even dissuades him of his notions.
Pri turns around on the whole situation, but I wanted something different. Like, sometimes it's fun
to go for the off-kilter lines.
Yeah, to have a difference of opinion rather than us being, well, it's clearly this.
But it was clear. That one's
yeah. That's the superior yum yum moment.
Is. I was reading through the transcript of this episode because we also have a new thing to keep aware of, which is the bitch count. Because this show loves to drop a bitch in every episode.
At least one.
There was 2. in this. But I have a wagging of my finger at the online transcripts, and maybe I did not hear. I will play the clip to see if I'm right or if the transcript is right. But it says that Pri, in response to the Johnny moment of slapping hands, said, dude. And he's like, dude, I get it. I do not think Pri is a person that just says dude, but maybe I didn't hear it.
I thought I heard dude, and I was just like, okay, that's a slang that stuck around.
Okay, let's hear the clip. Let's hear the clip and see. Maybe you're right. You in the transcripts. I read that and I just said, would Pri, out of everyone in this show, say dude? I just don't believe it.
In response to that, yeah.
No, I don't believe that. No, don't believe. Show, prove me wrong.
It's like my brother is banging my sister.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see your point.
Okay, good job, everyone. We got there in the end. But Rachel, you love to keep count of something important too.
I like to keep track of the nut shots, and we had 0 confirmed nut shots.
No one was hit in the genitals?
No,
not even a cunt punt?
No.
That's what we have yet to get one in the show.
Yes.
No one's tried to go for Dutch in that way.
We got close to a nut shot. We rewound it, and it looked like she didn't fully nail it. Yeah.
It was during Davin's mind control sleeper agent moment. It looked like Dutch more so just used her hand to push off of him in the chest to get away. But it looked, when you're in a quick cut
it's like,
moment.
Where did that land?
Where did that land?
I've got to know.
I've got to know who directed this episode and who was the writer of this episode. We like to also keep our eyes on those names and who's involved, because sometimes they're newcomers, sometimes they're people who've been here before.
It is important and interesting information to touch base with who wrote it, who directed it, and Paolo Barsman directed this episode. He has 47 directing credits on IMDb. He is often a reoccurring director on various shows. He did 21 episodes of Wynonna Earp, and he did some episodes of the US remake of Being Human.
He also started pretty early in his career doing many episodes, well, a good handful of episodes of the Highlander TV series, as well as Relic Hunter, which those two really feel like appropriate experience for something like Killjoys.
His very early stuff seemed to be like one-off soapy kind of shows.
Mm-hmm. And he is going to be an important figure for Killjoys. He gets one more episode this season, and then one in season 2, one in season 3. But here's the peculiar thing. He gets almost half of the last season.
Oh.
And kind of middle to the back. He doesn't get the final episode, but he kind of gets in that area. Okay. So I just wanted to note that down, because his direction was very good in this episode. This one had a lot of locations. This one had a lot of different
personality, but not in a way where it's like, hey, look at me. It does its thing, and when you stop, you appreciate the details that have gone into it.
And not to be crude in any way, but in actual sincerity, he knows when the gratuitous nature of the show needs to be on and when it needs to be off, because there's sex in this episode, there's sensuality, there's a playfulness, but also there's the dark side of this show in this episode. There's violence, there's fear, there's mayhem, and we have a whole we have a whole fight scene in which we go from the sex to almost murder, and Dutch is in barely any clothes, and the camera and the direction switches from, hey, look at her, to not being pervy at all. And I think it is good to note that down, because we have seen some shows, whether on this podcast or not, blur the line of that, or really don't take into account of that, where you're watching this very harrowing fight scene and you're like, but look at her though. This This direction doesn't lean into that. It actually very appropriately handles it, and I just wanted to compliment that straight up top because it's something that you take for granted perhaps while you're watching it, but when you think back on the episode, it is something to praise them for the way that they approached it in the end.
Yeah. And the writer this time is our creator. She's come back.
Michelle Lovretta. We haven't seen her voice directly in this way since the premiere, and I wanted to get your opinions on that. What did you feel about this episode overall, but also having her be in the writer's seat yet again?
I think it does help strengthen the episode because it feels like she's got a good hold on all of the characters and the direction that the show is heading. Because we get answers, but we get more questions, which, has been a big part of the 2 episodes that she's presented as writer.
Mm-hmm.
But it still feels like it's very grounded and well developed and well articulated, and not just in a, okay, now we're doing this. There's an appreciation and a love and a sense of full dimensionality to the characters and to the world, which you get from somebody who's keeping a hold of the whole thing.
She's keeping track on it. So what did you feel about the episode overall, though? Were you a fan of this one, or did it not hold together?
Oh, I loved this episode. And I really, really appreciated that it didn't screw the pooch.
I'm a big fan as well. I think this was a step up in quality yet again. I'm glad to have Michelle Lovretta back in giving us an episode more directly. It's too early to say what is her writing voice. Like, how can I distinguish it from others that have written on the show? But just coming off of this fresh, I think this and the pilot or the premiere have something in common, and I don't know how she pulls it off, which is it overloads you. It's overwhelming you with information.
There's
with
so
themes,
much
with messages,
jam-packed into it.
Yet, I don't actually feel overwhelmed. I don't feel like I can't keep track of it. I am not walking away from this episode feeling as if they shoved too much in. It is still satisfying. She is coming at this with all of the energy possible. She's telling you all the things you want to know. This is an episode where at the beginning of it, you think, oh, we're going to deal with Klein. No, we're not. We're going to deal with Davin's stuff. And also, by the way, Dulcea came back in this episode and she says, I'm a character in the show now and you have to do what I say. And then she disappears again. And yet it doesn't feel sloppy. It doesn't feel like this is an incomplete script on its own.
Because everything has its purpose on different levels. So all of the stuff has a character reason, has a plot reason, and so much of it links to overall plots that we're familiar with and the overall mystery. So it's just all woven together.
What keeps it grounded is also the emotional through line. When you're never in doubt of the show understanding the psychology of the characters and where they are at emotionally in the journey. There's just a lot to appreciate here from big and small things. Pre is a character we very much enjoy. He's a secondary player. He's usually always at the bar. This episode, we actually see him outside of the bar, and it actually feels very tragic to see him outside of the bar. It's like, oh.
I don't like why you're here, but it is also weird to see your legs.
Yeah, and it's weird but it's also comforting to see him as well at Johnny's side, because it kind of, at the end when, again, people watch this episode, Johnny gets stabbed and he has to get medical treatment and is taken to a hospital of some sort, and Pri is there, and it just shows that they are more than just patrons of the bar to Pri, which we already can kind of gather from how he interacts with them, but this further cements it.
This how he is with all of the Killjoys, or is this crew special, or are they just special because they're the main characters of this show?
You have said during our reactions, because we have been filming our reactions to the show, and people make sure to head on over to our YouTube to see the edited versions or support us on Patreon to get the full versions, but you have really grown to love this character, and I want to hear a bit more about your perspective on Pri and what he's like in this episode.
I've been surprised by how interested and invested I am in seeing him, because he could just be a background and a functional character, and we've talked about how the performance really helps elevate that, because he's not just a bartender. He's more specific, more defined than that. And a part of what I like so much about it is that it surprised me, and that I'm invested to see how he reacts to things, and I'm disappointed when he's not in an episode in one way, but I'm glad that they're not cramming him in there, because I'm like, I want to see him. But it's like, I want him to be there and to matter.
Mm-hmm.
And he really does in this episode.
So, whatever this is, it can't last. And they know that it can't last. And then I have to pick a side.
You'll pick hers.
I will. That make me a bad brother?
Makes you an excellent friend.
He makes the claim that, some people would assume, which is Johnny is just interested in Dutch himself, which is shot down by Johnny in the way that we had as the laugh moment of the episode. But I like that moment. I like that conversation, because it's like the show having a conversation out loud about what its intentions are with these characters and the relationships between them. Because how do you feel about this dynamic that Pri is looking at? Have you felt the same way as Pri has felt about it, in which it's like, well, Johnny, you're clearly interested?
Yeah,
or...
like we questioned that mostly in the first episode or two, I think, where we were like, hey, what is this meant to be? And you quickly settled into, no, there isn't tension, there isn't a history of romantic or sexual stuff necessarily. They're close and they care about each other deeply.
I do feel like it is on purposely playing with the fact that oftentimes in these television shows, that is how it is.
Oh yeah, it's definitely using your assumptions.
But also in the real world too, I think there is a large assumption made, whether falsely or not, of a man and a woman can't just be friends. They can't be this close to one another without there being something there.
Yeah,
I don't believe that, but that is a thing that is often believed.
There either has, or will be.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that the show took this moment with Pri to have a conversation about that, because...
And to call that out.
To call that out and to wag the finger and say, that's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is more interesting, which is it's about him not wanting his brother and Dutch to get together because it would ruin the dynamic. It would ruin the friendship group and their jobs and all of that, which is a very interesting way to approach it rather than just having it be a love triangle.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does make it more interesting and feel more unique, and not in a way where it's like, we're not like other shows. It's just like, no, that's not what these characters are doing. This is not their experience.
The episode moves at a very fast pace, but I think what grounded it a lot was the choice of music. I've said it before. The music that they use is pop music, often of 2015 era. It's not my type of music.
There's a lot in this episode.
There is a lot.
But it doesn't, like, it's noticeable how much music there is, but it all has a specific purpose and effect that it's intending in its use. That's not an easy thing to do or an easy thing to manage necessarily. Like, we keep on going back to this sort of central idea about this episode being hefty and there being a lot that's going on, but it works. Like, the music is just another example of that. There's all of these tracks, but because they're there with purpose and drive, it doesn't feel like, it doesn't burden the episode with it.
They still also stop the pop songs and just have scenes that are quiet. Scenes
yeah, they're
that
not
are
afraid of the silence. And even in those moments of silence, like, some of them are artificially silenced. Others are quiet moments with just the sounds of the world.
Yeah, and the actors just taking the moments they need to take to make it feel raw, because this is a very emotional episode, as well as one that gives us many answers to many questions and gives us many plot things. So much is interwoven here, whether it be the plot or whether it be the character work and development. We start this episode, we're going after Klein. Here's this ghost image from the Neuralink, and Johnny's like, great, I'm going to shove it into my neck and see if I can get it to work on my brain. And he's an idiot, of course. That's not going to help him in any way. Of course, that's going to be dangerous. But what is the emphasis of the opening? It's not that. That is happening, but it's backgrounded. Literally, you hear Johnny scream in the background of what's actually happening, which is Davin and Dutch talking to one another about both of their central mysteries and how it motivates them as characters.
And that conversation and the way that they go about it, bonding them even more, and having that reminder that there's attraction on both sides that they aren't acting on, and that they're preoccupied with these other things, but they're both messy people.
With messy,
so they're
messy
gonna
pasts,
mess it up.
with very messy pasts. And so many of the scenes in this episode are them two just talking to each other and further understanding why they are the way they are, and what about their pasts have made them act the way that they act. Because both of them have a lot in common when it comes to how the show has written them to be fascinating. They're both elite killers. They both have secret pasts. They both have, this, and this. We can keep going down the list. And this episode, they actually talk about that. They actually talk about how they have these things in common, and yet they're different. Like, they are both running from their past, but you mentioned it when we were watching it. Dutch is running away from her past, and it's catching up to her, and Davin is running to it. He is running towards it. And that is perfectly embodied by the episode of, he has the choice of, you could erase your past or you could regain it, and what he chooses, wanting to regain it. But what is that difference between the two of them bring to the table, and how does it make you understand those two characters as individuals and them in relation to one another?
It helps deepen your understandings of both of them, and you really do understand at this point why Dutch might be the way that she is and why Davin is responding the way that he is. You don't get the sense that one of them is doing it the right way and one of them's doing it the wrong way. It makes sense for them and their situation, and neither one is working out well.
I really also think something about it is it makes you buy into why these two mysteries can be linked to one another without it literally being overlapped in narrative.
Yeah,
It's not
not the
Johnny's
same plot.
Exactly. It's not revealed.
You could describe
John,
it in the same way, but it's not the same plot.
Exactly. It's not revealed the reason Davin is a super soldier is because Klein trained him as a military. That's not what happens in this episode. They are linked because both characters want to be whole people again. But what does that mean for both of them?
Yes, and with Dutch, you question if she was ever whole because this is all she's ever known.
That scene in which she talks to him about the sins of their pasts and how his will never match hers because hers
and if
are
there's
far
not a
greater.
chance for you, then there's no chance for me. And that hits really fucking hard because moments of true vulnerability that Dutch offers up are supremely rare. Her being put in a vulnerable position because of the plot, yeah, that happens.
And she resists it anyway.
Her being like, no, I need this to be true of you so that maybe I have a chance, because she wants that for herself so much. You see how much she is burdened by her past in a way that we've got glimpses of before, but she lays herself bare in that moment.
And she's a character who has built up all of these walls, all of these defenses. But I also absolutely love with this show, that does not mean she doesn't talk to people. She's had a very healthy and communicative relationship with Johnny all of these years. He knows who Klein is. He knows the deal there. So it's not following that traditional trope of brooding protagonist with a dark past who will only give up information when it has to come out. She has talked about these things, but now she needs to talk about them more. So there's still more to get out of this, but she's someone who doesn't want to settle down either, or someone who doesn't know how to compromise. I really adored that line about how she doesn't believe in ties. That's just quitting faster. Something along those lines. It was a really great exchange between Davin and her, and how they are very different to one another when it comes to that, and that they're competitive people.
I don't believe in ties. That's just quitting before you win.
Feeling better?
Much.
Good. Now we can talk about your feelings.
Ass.
Why are you so desperate for Johnny to find Klein?
Because I want answers. He's holding pieces of me hostage, truths about my life I can't get from anywhere else.
I want to get your understanding of Dutch, just from her past and where she is now. Because Davin is trying to get a grip on that throughout the series, but he is doing that in this episode. Like after they have sex, which we will talk about, he starts to probe her about who she is and what's her past and what is the deal with
It's like,
herself.
oh, we're naked, so we're going to continue to be vulnerable with each other, right?
Be naked in more ways, yes.
Yes, laid bare.
Yes, laid bare.
Is it in that scene where he calls her a princess?
A warrior princess.
Warrior princess, and she's just like, oh, through my marriage. And he's like, what? It's like, oh, I'm widowed. Don't worry about it. I was like, what? What?
Absolutely insane line.
And then it's like she's referred to it as kind of a royal harem that she grew up in. So my sense of it is that she was being trained up to be a weapon for the elite, which is why she needed to be able to blend in. So she has all of this combat training, but all of this social education as well, which is why she could fit in that previous episode when she went undercover.
That's what my read has been, but I just think it is, I don't know if peculiar is the right word, but fascinating that that's not been Davin's read. Davin's read is like, are you royalty? Secret princess, warrior badass? I never even thought about that for a second. Like, she has knowledge of royal interplays, and she says that she's interacted with lots of royalty, but yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. The fact that she's just casually dropped that she's widowed is very funny to me.
Yeah,
like, that's just one of those ones where, like, my jaw's already hit the floor because of everything that's been happening.
On her way, she's like, okay, I'm out now. Like, she's just like, oh, you're probing me. I'm going to throw this and try and shut you up and get out of here.
I just love Dutch. I think she's just such a badass, no nonsense character. She checks a lot of boxes that we would often see for like the male equivalent of this. Like, she's written in a way where her femininity is still there. But I also think like a lot of the things that they are playing with, we don't often get to see with a female character in this position. But, and then there's Davin, right? We have all of this stuff with Davin, and we've been very flip-floppy on Davin. We haven't liked him, and we've started to grow to like him, and this episode is all about Davin and where he is at as a character. We can talk about what his backstory is, but talking about what his development has been like.
Because that feels more important. It feels more important to note how Davin has changed, because that's a part of why what happens to him in this episode is brutal. Because we learn to understand that being a soldier is a core part of his identity. And then we learn that he murdered his own squad. And that's a part of why he doesn't want to join up with his brother and Dutch, right?
Or join the RAC initially. And
the hesitation there to join a team again and to be working with others. He feels like he's a liability. And then we learn that that is the exact weakness that has been exploited by this mysterious force, right? Because she wasn't with the company before this.
No, she was, and then the Dr. Jaeger you're talking about?
Yeah.
She was, and then she got kicked out because of all of this stuff. And then she used them to hire the RAC to go kill Davin in the first episode. And then then Dutch has powerful friends somewhere in the RAC, which we still haven't heard much more about that since the first episode, written by Michelle Lovretta. It's interesting that she used that phrase again, just to tap at you and say, that's a thing you should remember in case you forgot, which I did. I don't know if you remember that, but I did forget that. So thank you, Michelle, for bringing it back up.
Yes.
But yeah, it's also this episode has so like they go to like a sex station in this episode. They go to like a kinky sex station where they dress up in like S&M gear. And that's just
that's a part of it.
That's just like a fleeting
Them
moment
going kind
of
of
this
undercover.
episode. Yeah. And him and Dutch keep talking more, and they start to get attracted to each other more. And
he gets high, and then they make out.
And they trauma bond. That's really what is happening with Davin. Is he starts to bond with Dutch because he is opening up to her and she is doing the same. Like they're opening up to each other. And that brings me to a question I want to ask you, which is that his thing? Because him and the doctor have a sexual relationship that's in part about him trauma dumping.
Yeah. I think he doesn't know how to connect to people. So connecting to other broken people, connecting to people because he is broken is the best that he's got.
And they call that out as an awful thing that Pod is doing. He calls it out in this episode as well, where she tries to do the whole, oh, you don't return my calls. I was in jail, by the way. Are you trying to dump me? Have you thought about it? And he's like, by the way.
Oh, you're trying to fade.
Yeah, by the way, I'm your patient with a mental illness, by the way. Maybe you should maybe you're the one who's in the wrong here. But then he starts to reveal all of his traumas to Dutch, and they start to make out over it, and she reveals some of hers, and they start to have sex about it. And how does that make you feel? Like, is that something that the show is do you feel like the show is aware of this stuff, or do you think it's just how TV works? So it's like, oh, now the characters have connected and now they're going to bang or kiss.
Because I feel like they are judging Davin for it, and Johnny is actively judging his brother for it. Like, it's not a good choice. It's not a good choice. And they also do judge Porter for that as well. Like, we have that scene with Pri where she gets called out for it.
Yeah, in the last episode. And Pri even in
and
this
Hills
episode
as well.
Yeah, and in this episode too, when Johnny's talking to Pri, he says that whatever Davin and Dutch has, it can't last, and they know it. So why are they doing it? It's almost like it's another form of like a self-destructive behavior, self-harming behavior. Like, it feels good, right? To be able to have this close of a relationship with someone, but like, is that the reason? Is that good enough of a reason?
Is it appropriate as well? Like, that's another thing that they're just like, yeah, like, you're two grown adults, but is this right? Is this right? And is this the right thing to do as well is questioned. And they avoid that question.
Then the plot as well kicks in where Davin, because of sci-fi nonsense, gets activated, and it kind of forces the issue to be, thrown out, and just is like, well, now we're in a hellscape with this relationship, because she had to defend herself, but what her takeaway is about nearly getting fucking strangled to death by this jack dude
line
is about what scared her was that she was who she is.
Yeah,
and
like,
she could have killed him.
You were you, but
yeah,
I can't go back. I can't reconnect because it was me.
Yeah,
it was me.
You were under a control of something. I was me. I was in my element. I knew exactly what I was doing and how to do it, and that terrifies me. Because there's still hope for you.
But I'm beyond that, and I've been reminded of that now.
I'm not judging you right now, because I don't have any right to. So whatever you've done, I promise you I have done worse. And if you can't be forgiven, then what chance is there for me?
This episode cracks open all of the Davin stuff and starts to talk about it, starts to give us the explanation, starts to give us how that affects the characters. And I liked it. I found it very effective. But why is that the case? And why has the lead up to it not been as engaging as the actual episode that is tackling it head on? And I think for me personally, I think the reason why I found Davin stuff less interesting is it hits very, very well-trodden familiar beats of these type of stories for me. And the way he reacts to it is very similar.
Gonna call it out for what it is, which, like, a big part of it is that we aren't interested because super soldier stories often suck.
I've seen the X-Files.
Like, we've been burned too many times before, whereas Dutch's angle is way more unique, so it's more interesting and it's more appealing, especially because they've built up enough trust in these 7 episodes for me to think, okay, I know, I'm watching it knowing that it gets to do its whole thing. So, assumably, the stuff with Dutch gets a ending. Whether it's satisfying or not, I will have to watch and see. But Davin, being a soldier, having these things, these tech, his abilities, that is familiar. That reads Secret Super Soldier. And that sucks in so many sci-fi shows.
But I also thought you were going to say it kind of sucks the interest out from the start, because we are, at least as viewers of the sci-fi we watch, there's not a lot unique to that setup. Like, I've seen it so many times play out, and it often just keeps going down the exact same road. And this does do that. Like, Evil Company did this thing where they created a program where it would activate someone to kill all of their own men. For what purpose would you do that? Has yet to be revealed, but it was super effective, and Davin killed all of his own men. He wasn't supposed to, but he did, because he had the innate ability within him to kill. He is a killer. But, yeah, that there is a satisfying answer. It's not a shocking answer, but it doesn't need to be reinventing the wheel here, because how does it inform us about Davin? What does it give us in terms of the world that he inhabits? And how do the characters that we know and love react to this information as well? And Dutch and Johnny react with love, with care, with in wanting to embrace him, wanting to help him. But there's also different views of what helping Davin is between the three of them.
Yes. Yeah. And the fact that Dutch is more approaching it on instinct, and Johnny is approaching it from his history with his brother. It's just like, oh no, when he's like this, just leave him be. Just leave him alone. I know how to deal with this. He's my brother. I get it.
And Johnny's the one that says, oh, well, of course you'd want to wipe the memories. He's the one that says that.
Yeah. And I enjoy the way that we can read the actress's expression as she responds to that.
And the company continues to be nefarious and evil and shifty, with all of these black ops things that we shouldn't know about, but they keep stacking on top of themselves. Are they connected, or are they disparate elements? We don't know. They feel, our main three Killjoys feels like they have to be connected in some way, shape, or form. Like, what's the shape of this stuff? We just keep finding these little conspiracies, these little experiments, these little super weapons, stuff like that. The thing that sells it to me is when they activate Davin. and he's actually scary because we've been told he's a badass in
And
the other
we've
episodes.
seen his capacity
But
to be a good soldier.
yeah.
But this elevates it to a whole other level. And because we know what he's capable of doing to an enemy. So now that his team has become his enemy, we know what he's capable of and how much he will push himself and push them.
Yeah, I've had some issues in the last, like in the other episodes, of how they've demonstrated he is a soldier, because it hasn't been as much of a distinction between him and Dutch, where they both are the action people in the team. There's different ways they approach it, but I always feel like they could go about this in a more. They could go about this more. And this episode, because he gets activated, we get to see that in their fight. How they handle one another is drastically different. He is very, much fighting in a very brutal way. I'm going to take you down, and I'm going to go for the kill. And she, obviously being emotional, obviously not understanding what's going on, wanting to try and take him down by, any means necessary. But she gets to a point where she becomes the Dutch that she is, which is the person she is, which is a killer herself. And she has to stop herself from killing him. And that frightens her as we said. But I think that's what kind of sold it all for me, was actually getting to see this scary soldier who's capable of killing all of his own people. And that's why he's afraid of himself. Because getting grainy, sepia-toned flashbacks of blood on your hands and you screaming isn't enough.
No.
It feels very hokey in comparison to actually diving in and talking about it, or seeing moments like this in which...
This makes it more meaningful kind of retroactively, as well as moving forward. Because we get to see it, and we care about what happens to Davin, to Dutch, to Johnny, and that's where I'm at. Like, it connects to the bigger picture, and I trust that will pay off. But right now, I don't care about the state of the quad. Like, that keeps on getting mentioned, and like, our characters are clearly going to be important to that. But I care about them right now and them being okay.
Do you believe Dr. Yeager saying that the program went awry with him because he is a natural-born killer? He just has that within him. Like, our program was supposed to activate you to be a killer, but we could limit it. But, it went too far because he just has that within him.
I think that's her justification.
For her sloppy work?
Yeah, I think that, yes, they didn't count on that. But the capacity of a soldier to murder is known. Like, he would have killed people before that.
Or at least been able to, most likely be able to do it.
Yeah.
But it's his own men.
Yeah. So them not knowing how easy it was to tap into that and messing around in somebody's head with completely unknown technology, yeah. They were like, oh, we didn't know. It's like, well, you didn't stop to think about it, for one. Also, this is an experiment with unprecedented bullshit. So yeah, you're not going to know what it's going to be. And 3, you don't want to blame yourself.
There's been a lot of discussion in this episode, but also some other ones, about a psychosis with him. We saw a couple of episodes back him nearly choke someone to death in a bar fight. And there was this air of that just has come from him having PTSD. But this episode is raising up like, no, that doesn't come from just him having PTSD. That comes from somewhere else, and the episode is like making you question: does that come from the fact that we did this experiment on him, or was that just there? And what does that make you feel about everything? Because like Dutch, she's saying all of this stuff that I'm capable of doing, I was trained to do. I was made to be this way. But that's, again, that's that belief of like, that came from outside. Someone molded me into this. But then at the end of the day, she's like, this is me. And Davin is being told, this is you from this scientist. Like, this is you already.
Getting those memories back isn't about moving on. It's about punishing yourself for what you did. But try seeing the one positive in this amnesia. I mean, do you have any idea what I'd give to forget some of the things I've done?
Yeah, that's not the same thing, Dutch. You killed in the line of duty. I murdered my men.
Let's not compare sins here, okay?
Johnny tries to connect with this hypnotized Davin.
And gets stabbed for it. And it makes complete sense. When you see Johnny go in there and he slaps him and Davin's still under the spell.
Has these black eyes, these dark eyes.
Johnny being too relaxed and too trusting, we know is his natural state, because he made the same mistake with the prisoner that they had earlier in the season in the same restraints.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, too trusting.
And the fact that he's his brother. So it doesn't feel like, oh, of course, he's fucking stupid and he deserves this. It's, why didn't you see that coming? And oh my God, it makes complete sense that you didn't think about it in that way.
And the world's not as simple as Johnny wants it to be. You know, he tells this story, this beautiful, warm story, which, to be real with you, that monologue that he gives was awful. I hated it. I thought it was very lame, corny, cheesy, manipulative. It fucking works because Aaron Ashmore is just that damn likable.
Yeah.
He makes it work.
He sells it.
But the monologue itself, I think, is bullshit. But he sells it. But he wants the world to be as simple as he views it. Like, at the end of the day, I'll have to choose, and I will choose Dutch. Well, here's a situation in which Dutch has been nearly beaten to death, and he goes, oh no, that couldn't have been him. He's a good guy. I'll go talk to him. And then he gets stabbed by his brother, and even after all of that, he's still willing to say, I choose him still. And I choose you. It's not as simple as like, well, when a bad thing happens, I'll know exactly that, bam, I'll choose this or this. And that's been also a statement. We haven't seen him in a little while, but the Scarback monk, he keeps saying that to them as well. It's like, hey, when everything starts to go bad, you'll have to choose a side. You have to decide what you're going to do. And we see in this episode that all three of them are still incapable in some ways of being just so firm in their convictions that they can so just easily pick this course of action. They still, because they're humans, because they're people, waver a bit, and it can get them into trouble. Johnny gets stabbed and almost dies. And he still forgives his brother. He still forgives him.
I enjoyed how they communicated the seriousness of the stab wound through the montage. I thought that was really, really well done, because those type of montages are, they're hard to pull off on me in a way where I don't laugh at them, because I watch too much fucking Grey's Anatomy.
Is there anything else you want to talk about with this episode? Anything of the deeper variety, or any just fun moments that happened in the episode? I love when they went to the sex station that there was a filthy, disgusting pervert on a leash with a gross mustache.
Yeah.
A lot. There's like the cybertech lady that Johnny's dealing with.
We kind of skipped. Yeah, I was going to say we need to touch on that because Johnny makes a deal with her about the Neuralink, if like she gets it working once Johnny's done with it, she gets it.
And she says it's tech so beyond that it's probably outside of the quad.
It's outside of the quad.
Oh, even the cluster. She's like, this is, if anyone here has it, no one has this. Like, this is insane.
Like, she's like, oh, it's this. And he's surprised by it. And, you know, that's why he's not there when
Davin and Dutch start making out.
Yeah.
They go to this place, and we knew, oh, they're going to dress the cast up sexy. And for some, I don't know why, Aaron Ashmore's the only one not dressed up sexy. He's just dressed up like in a black hoodie. He looks like he's just like, I'm a bit cold. I'm going to whack on a hoodie. It's not even a kinky hoodie.
Then Davin's wearing that later. That's that.
Yeah,
like it's like that. Why couldn't it just be a normal part of his wardrobe? Why did it have to be that? Or is it?
But why didn't Johnny get
Davin's jumper? I don't know.
But why doesn't Johnny get to be sexy at the sex place? He has sex with sexes as well.
He's allowed to be hot as well.
Why don't they get? Look, if it was up to me, I would have put him in a mesh top so we can see the hair on his chest because he's the hairy one in the group. I worry. I do not recall. I worry that the next time we see him shirtless will be a season from now. I worry that they're going to be a one time a season shirtless of Johnny, and I think that's very unfortunate because they pop everyone else's tops off so much. They did it once so far. I worry that they are afraid of showing a hairy chested man on this show. Like, got to be smooth, and Aaron Ashmore, he's a hairy guy. You can tell by his face. But something else, we said it. Del Sayer showed up again. To basically mention that I know who you are. I know your name. I'm very aware of what your deal is. You work for me now. When I snap, you come, which was a great exchange. It's like, you must be one hell of a snapper. Which, the British accent helps so much, doesn't it? Just our main character having a British accent helps so many of these crass lines feel less crass than they are. It's just that accent that helps a lot. But anything else, Rachel, or are you happy to rate this episode on our scale of Yum being bad and Yum Yum being good?
I guess my final remark that I really want to make sure that I drive home is how fucking great the action is in this episode. Like, we've kind of mentioned it here and there, but it stands above a lot of the other shit that we've seen. Like, the choreography, the execution, the reason for the stylistic elements to be present.
The music.
All work so fucking well. And it really, like, we mentioned how Davin is scary. And all of those elements work to really support that he is scary in that moment, and it feels more meaningful.
And with Davin and Dutch, in different scenes as well, they through the choreography, through the editing, through the lighting, through the choices they make as characters to approach a fight, Dutch feels very light, you know, ethereal in a way where she can just jump around, or she grabs the bowl that they shoot at and she like activates it to keep slamming into the force fields really, really fast, and then when it explodes the force fields, she just like almost like pirouettes out of the room with a gun in hand, being like, I'm in charge, bitch. And Davin is very heavy and slow and methodical, and like he can grab you real quick and take you down, but like he takes up pretty much all of the frame that he's in because he's just that bulking of a figure. Even when he's on the camera outside and it's like, I'm a good soldier, he takes up so much of the frame because he's just so big. But then when he's deactivated, he's so small, like they frame it really well. Little touches like that. Little ways of telling the story through visuals helps so much.
All of the tools at their disposal.
I have one critique.
Oh.
I have one major critique.
Let's hear it. Come on, come on, come on.
Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. That the doctor was just not in jail this episode. She got locked up in the last episode, and then she's back in this episode like, it all worked itself out off screen. This episode opens with them being like, oh fuck, we need Potter. And you're like, well, you can't have her because she's been locked up. Maybe that's what the episode. No.
Nah.
She's just out, so
She's just out, and she doesn't even fully acknowledge it, but it's like,
it feels so cheap at the end of the last episode. And although in this episode she flexes more of like who she is and her background,
she's the reason that Johnny lives.
Yeah, it still feels
and
cheap.
her not just being a doctor, but her having the connections that she...
Yeah, that she's probably part of the Nine.
We get to hear her name.
Yeah, her big full name and everything. But it does feel cheap because Hills in the last episode did the thing where he's like, I looked you up. I know what your story is. I know your background. You don't have enough power. I have power. I have people I know. So fuck you. You're going in jail. Mm-hmm. And it just, off screen, it just robs him of that moment as well. It really put a sour taste in my mouth at the beginning of the episode because...
It's like, well, they can't fit everything.
You're banking...
Clearly, you're just like... Bloop.
But you're banking, these last couple of episodes have been banking on the fact that they have set up so many things and now we're paying them off. And this is one where it's like they immediately rug pull from the end of the last episode. And I really thought it lessened things a bit.
If they do go back and explain it, it won't change your feelings about this episode necessarily.
Just having a throwaway line doesn't mean that the moment has been robbed. Because it felt like it was going to be a plot critical thing. She's the fucking doctor. You open up this episode by being like, oh no, a medical emergency, and we, the audience, know something the characters don't know, which is the doctor's not around. And then it's like, no, the doctor is around. You, the audience, didn't know that. Feels cheap, but that's my big critique of the episode. I give this a yum yum.
Yum yum.
I like this one a lot. I don't know if I like it more than last episode, because the last episode just had a lot of fun character stuff. This one lacked Fancy Lee. I will note that down. But it was a great time. Rachel, what do you rate this?
It's a yum yum. Yum yum. It's a fantastic episode, and I think it's definitely at the top of the episode rankings for me. But it is hard because that last episode was so damn good too.
The next episode of Killjoys we will be watching and talking about is Season 1, Episode 8, Come the Rain. That's the name of the episode. I obviously won't say what happens in it. I actually do remember the plot of this episode. I remember this one in particular. But we shall see what is happening in that one. Any desires, any thoughts, expectations, predictions from you of what could be happening in the next episode or the remainder of the season?
I'm not sure. I feel like Davin is going to run away, but they're going to get caught up in a Klein stuff so that they are going to be divided for a little bit.
It feels like Dutch is the one that ran away by the end of this episode, though.
Yeah, but I feel like Dutch is going to be on Lucy with Johnny, and then Davin is going to go try being a solo Killjoy.
Okay. Oh, we didn't mention Lucy in this episode was very heartbreaking. Not able to help in a way, but then in the end she calls Potter in.
She figures it out.
She figures it out, but the disquieting nature of having this AI ship program that has a hint of a personality but also lacks it, and just coldly saying I don't know what to do as someone they care about the most is bleeding on the floor is just, it's one of those things that like, this is why it's sci-fi, baby. This is why it's a science fiction show, because that's the kind of hit that you get from a genre piece where it's like, oh, I'm saying out loud that my heart was breaking about a disembodied voice, not expressing through its voice that it's sad, but I know it is because I just can pick up the subtext there. Lovely stuff. But thank you all so much for listening, people out there. Make sure to share the show around, rate and review us. If you have the means to do so, support us over on Patreon. We release our stuff there early. We have a community Discord, and we have a whole back catalogue of goodies over there. But Rachel, where else can people find us, and how can people talk to us if they have things they want to say?
If you want to talk to us on social media, you can find us under yumyumpod or yumyumpodcast. If you want to send us an email, direct that to yumyumpod@gmail.com. If you want to join our Discord server, you've got to sign up to the Patreon for that one.
Yes, indeed you do. But that is all we have for you. This is us saying kiss, kiss.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, just call it off. And have my tits handed to me by my boss? I don't think so.